The words of a coach. I have never asked anything from you. Never. This is the first time I'm asking something from you. I want you to go out there and win the last round for me. Words of Coach Barry Hunter to Isaac the Royal Storm Dogboe. And of course, Dogbe went there and did justice. He won by a split decision. Very interesting bout indeed. And for many connoisseurs of the game, they think that Isaac Dogboe has really, really improved. This is a coach who 20 years ago decided to go to Lincoln Middle School just to support kids. Throughout his career, he's been supporting underprivileged kids. And of course, he hit himself into the limelight of boxing where he started coaching some very novices. Now he's the one taking care of Isaac Dogboe, a protege who's seen so much, having suffered 2 defeats in the hands of a certain Navarrete, which virtually propelled his career and dipped his confidence. But Isaac Dogboe is back, and is no worse. Isaac Dogboe is back, baby. Indeed, my name is Samuel Hussein. Many thanks for joining me on this platform. This is Boxing Court, and once again, I am so very happy to have you on this platform. Remember, the show is interactive, so get interactive on my line on 0. Did I say 0? Yes. Okay, so we can do it. +1 815 302 5489. Once again, it's +1 815 302 5489. Like I said, the show is interactive, so get interactive on my line. Of course, our main preoccupation tonight, as in Ghana, and this afternoon, as in the USA, is discussing the aftermath of Isaac Dogboe's fight with Joet Gonzalez. It was a very interesting fight. Indeed, a certain Joet Gonzalez, after Dogboe won the first 3 rounds, decided to rally on. But for the timely intervention of a coach, Dogboe was able to finish it off. For many, it was a close fight. Indeed, it was a close fight. Well, I really do need to apologize to my viewers wherever you find yourself. We had a technical challenge that we probably will talk about it later. It has to do with certain issues here and there. I really don't want to go into it, but it has to do with copyright. I think that a video was shown, and anyway, we have very good relationship with Top Rank, but Top Rank, they scan things just like that, and anytime they see any content, it doesn't really matter. They'll just automatically just strike you down. It's as simple as that. And that was the challenge we had. Facebook just told me, but our platform is a big platform, so they decided to tell us what the issues were. And of course, with Ivan Korn is a very good friend. He is the head of communications for Top Rank. Many times I will get back to you, definitely, no two ways about it. But the show is still will actually go on unabated. We're still talking boxing. We're still talking Isaac Royal Storm Dogboe's victory over Joet Gonzalez, a 10-round split decision. Very interesting, very close fight. And with me is no other, a boxing guru by all standards, owner of Don's Promotions. If you didn't know, if you're oblivious, that's him. Michael Nia Boy Annan is my guest. Of course, financial analyst and astute personality by all standards. There's more accolade I can just give you on and on. He's actually my godfather. I'll tell you about that in maybe later on. But for now, we're keeping it in the rounds. Mr. Annan, forgive me because virtually everything you said previously didn't really go on air. So
okay.
I will want you to repeat for me your general impressions of the fight from the scratch.
Okay. Well, I think it was a good fight. It was a fight of equals, and yes, Dogbe was slightly ahead in terms of the fight, and I wasn't surprised with the call by the judges. Basically, look, Dogbe has improved. Let's be frank. If you have watched some of his fights in the past, you would have realized that Dogbe has improved significantly. He has improved in terms of his defense. He has improved in terms of his movement. I think he should be doing more in terms of defense when moving back. He was able to expose Gonzalez, but was not able to take full advantage of that. The body shots were hurting him, and I don't know why he did not rely on that to bring him down. He managed to do that in few rounds, from round 3, round 4. Yes, he managed to do a lot of it, but he should have focused more on that. Gonzalez also is a good fighter. He had a better reach. I mean, he could catch Dogbe anytime he wants. He wasn't just good with his targets. And I think generally the two boxers, I would say, are equal.
To boxing, can you just elaborate a little bit on that for me? Because
Come
most
again.
boxers are very diminutive, as it were. I mean, earlier you were making assertions to size when it comes to boxing, and also the fact that most
Yes.
Ghanaian boxers are a bit diminutive. And if
Yes.
you watch this particular bout, Isaac Dogbe was a bit in a disadvantage in terms of reach. It was 70 to 64. That's a huge reach disadvantage. I want to know your opinion when it comes to that angle.
Well, I think, yes, he should be fighting in such weights. I mean, looking at Dogbe's size and all that, I think he did well uh, getting the weight. But you could see the size of Gonzalez. And yes, he was able to make the weight perfectly. Now, Dogbe had to even take off his socks, you know what I mean, to be able to make the 125.8, compared to Gonzalez, who made the weight straight away. He made a 1-2, a 5 point, I think. I think he did 125.2 or so. So you could tell that our boxers from Ghana or Africa have issues with the weight and the management of the size and what weight division you kind of fight in. So yes, he has done well fighting at 126, and at the weigh-in, I thought he was very comfortable. I thought he was very comfortable, but in the fight, you could see that he was a bit, should I say, weak. He's tired. You can see he was tired. He wasn't that fresh. He would have done better if he was so fresh with, in terms of energy and all that. And so we need to improve. And this is something that we need to start, a technique we need to start teaching the younger ones coming up before they get up there. When they get up there, it is so difficult for them to manage these things. And that is one of the challenges he's facing. You can see the reach with Gonzalez. It was a clear advantage. The height of Gonzalez was a clear advantage. And so, yes, Dogbe did well, but you must also realize that he was so disadvantaged in many aspects and yet was able to do well. I think the weight thing must be, he must check his weight, manage the weight very well, going into any further fight within this division.
Well, he did. He must check his weight going into further fights in this division, the featherweight division, of course. But let's talk about Dogbe's coach on the day. How quintessential was he in Dogbe's victory?
Well, that is what a coach should do. A coach should manage the psyche of the boxer as well. Is not only supposed to manage the boxer's training and physique and all that. It is so important that whilst the boxer is even in the ring, what you say to the boxer encourages him to fight on and to. I mean, the guy was perfect with Dogbe. I don't know how he got to choose such a trainer, but I think they can grow together. And I think this is a trainer who has so much interest in his boxer. And he had realized certain issues with Dogbe and knew when he needed to say what he did say. And so that was a perfect, a thumbs up for the trainer. I mean, his corner did very well, except the fact that, again, they did not take advantage of the body shots.
Dogbe in the first 3 rounds was fighting from the inside, which seemed to have worked so perfectly well for him. Yeah. But he sort of staggered in the 4th round when he received that big overhead hook. And of course, Gonzalez actually rallied on and he could have won the fight easily. First of all, is it a psychological bluff on Dogbe's mind anytime he gets hit by, say, unsuspecting punch? Or is it just a case of having maybe proper psychologists to help manage that side of Isaac Dogbe?
Yes, it's about getting a psychologist to, work on that aspect of Dogbe. Look, I'll tell you a story about a boxer who was hit by a blow, and that blow, dazed him for a while until the fight was over. Now, anytime he gets a similar punch, he reacts. He's not himself. He cannot, and he fears such similar punches. Somebody needs to work better on him with that. He suffered that immensely with Navarrete, and it is very difficult to take it out of his mind. Somebody really needs to work on him because you could see, he was more focusing on what the crowd response was than what he needs to do in the ring to recover quickly and how to protect himself. He thought that was it again. This is what did the trick the last time on me. It is happening again. A lot of stuff goes into a boxer's mind whilst in the ring. But I think that some work has been done on him. He would have given up if he hasn't been worked on. You could see how he started protecting himself from the inside and all that. with this fight, I think he did well in terms of keeping his guard up, protecting his body and all that. I think he needs to perfect it. And well, I will advise him. He should be looking at Joshua's Joshua Clotte's fights to know how to defend yourself well in such circumstances.
Well, indeed, West from a very astute boxing personality. But David Cote, I want to get your general impressions first before we continue with our questioning of me, Mr. Annan. You watched the fight as well. Give me your general impressions.
For me, I would say yesterday I was highly impressed with the big performance,
David,
irrespective of the.
okay, so I think I'm going to have to try and reconnect David on the line. Yes, David is now on the line. David, if you are able to, so David, just join the stream. I hope you heard my first question that I posed to you. I actually want your general overview of the fight and what you thought went well or went wrong for Isaac Dogbe. Just your general overview of that fight.
I was impressed with Big's performance. The
Okay, so David is talking all right. I can't seem to get him on the stream, so I probably will have to bring in Mr. Annan. David, are you able to hear me? Are you able to see me? Okay. So, Mr. Anna, whilst my producer is trying to connect David back on the line, let me ask you this. Was it a fair fight? Was the score a fair score for you? For many people, they thought it should have been a draw.
No. Look, we must understand how the scoring are done. Dogbe showed more aggression. He caught Gonzalez mostly at the right places. His coverage of the ring was excellent, and he came back when he needs to come back. His response were quick, and all that. So these are the things that you would, in terms of punches, I would say that yes, they both threw probably the same amount of punches, but you could see that Dogbe was hitting the appropriate targets, and he was doing a lot of covering of the ring, and I think that is what won him the fight. The scoring is not that simple like most of us have it to believe that, well, it is about probably one event or two events where you are able to catch somebody or you are able to daze a boxer with a punch. No, it is more than that. Once the boxer survives it, it's on the point decision. And based on the point decision, I think a split decision for Dogbe was the perfect decision.
According to the Compy box, they actually had it that Dogbe actually registered 170 punches as against Gonzalez's 179. By those analysis, maybe that was what was making Gonzalez felt that he probably won the fight, because for him, he did more of the landing, and Dogbe for him was clinching all the time. Do you share the same sentiment by Gonzalez? Or you think
No. Yes, I mean, probably sometimes you need to have a second look at the fight to understand why the judges would score for Dogbe a split decision. Look, from round one, Dogbe was on top for me. Gonzalez came into the fight to drop Dogbe. He came to the fight. His strategy was to drop Dogbe. He nearly succeeded. But you could see Dogbe was in for everything. If I should get him knocked down, yes, I will take it.
Mm.
If I should go the full round, I would also take that. So he was more composed. He was taking on a lot of body shots. He did a lot of body shots to Gonzalez, and that hurt him. He responded. I mean, at a point, they were of the same height, and that is a boxer who is leading. If when Ipote was fighting Espanol, right? Espanol had a good jab, very superior jab. We all knew Ike also had it, but Ike needed to vary his game and go for the body, and that was when he started coming down or bending, and that was what won the fight for Ike and eventually knocked him down. So it's about how you respond. Um, Dogbe, yes, clenches, and should I should say that yes, when Dogbe responds, he clenches to settle himself, go back, and then attack again. So yes, he had the fight under his control, and you are looking at the one with the ring mastership, and I think Dogbe won it at that with that regard. I mean, no doubt about that. Yes, Gonzalez, it is possible. I mean, 179, 170 is about 9 punches different, and at the end of the day, what we'll be looking at is the attitude within the ring.
Definitely the ring generalship, according to Mr. Annan. But David, you watch the fight. Give me your general overview of the fight for you, round by round.
For me, if I had opportunity, I will say it's one of the fight of the year contender because it was fireworks. All the boxers were throwing punches. They threw the combined punches of over close to 2,000 punches between them. Dogbe, for me, put up a splendid performance. Like Ms. Anna said, Dogbe has improved as compared to his previous fight that we have watched. I had opportunity to visit Dogbe when he was training with Gary Banta in gym in Washington D.C. And from there, I could see that Dogbe is now learning how to box instead of fighting. And yesterday, his ring generalship was okay. He was moving well. He was boxing well. The only issue that I had was he was running into his opponent punches a lot, and that has been the only thing that you can see from Dogbe's his defense. Though his defense hasn't been accurate, but he has improved in his defense, judging from his previous fight. But you cannot write Joey Gonzalez off. Joey Gonzalez going into this game was being rated ahead of Isaac Dogbe in the WBC. Joey Gonzalez is ranked number 3, WBO number 1, Isaac Dogbe WBC number 5, WBO number 2. So in terms of all the aspects, Joey Gonzalez is slightly ahead of Isaac Dogbe, but Isaac Dogbe went into the fight, proved that he's a warrior, and proved that he's one of the best fighters to have come from Ghana. He, he saw the show yesterday. Though it started well, but in the middle of the round, Joey Gonzalez pressed the action. He was pushed back, but he was able to fight back. Irrespective of looking at the reach advantage of Joey Gonzalez, could you believe that Azudogbe out jabbed Gonzalez? He was jabbing more as compared to Joey Gonzalez. Though per combos start 179 against 170, 177 against 170, which they gave it to Joey Gonzalez. But in terms of the power punches, Dogbe landed more power punches than Joey Gonzalez. Dogbe landed more body shots than Joey Gonzalez. So I think it was a close fight. It could have gone that way, but Dogbe for me proved that he belongs to the top. And yesterday he showcased his talent to the world. But you cannot write off what Garibanda told him. Sometimes fighters make fight. Sometimes coaches also change it fight. What Garibanda did to Dogbe in the ninth and the 10th round. that was the crucial moment. That was the crucial point that Dogbe needed his coach, and his coach stepped up to the plate and he gave him that strong advice, and that advice won the championship run for Isaac Dogbe.
What would you say to people that says that perhaps Joet Gonzalez shot himself in the foot by not taking advantage of his reach and rather decided to go box to box with Isaac Dogbe, who is a typical box to box fighter?
Yeah, like Joe Gonzalez, for me, allowed Dogbe to dictate the pace. You have the rich advantage. Joe Gonzalez should be dictating the pace. But Joe Gonzalez wanted to fight Isaac Dogbe in the middle of the ring. Joe Gonzalez wanted Isaac Dogbe to come in to fight. So if you could remember, after he rocked Isaac Dogbe in the fourth round with that left hook, then he started pouncing on Isaac Dogbe. Then Isaac Dogbe also decided to fight back foot. Joe Gonzalez, like after the fight, he admitted that he did not press the gas so early, and he should be blaming himself because you have the rich advantage in the ring. You should be dictating the pace, but he allowed Dogbe to dictate the pace. Everything that went on in the ring, it was Dogbe who was dictating the pace. Dogbe was clinching more. Dogbe was moving more. Dogbe was fighting more. Dogbe was boxing more. So I think that swept the judges, and that gave the Dogbe the win. But for me, it was a good fight, and I wish we can run it back.
Indeed, top rank will strike us
Yes,
down
I wish
again.
we can run it back. Yeah.
That's what the funny side. But I've been inundated with messages here, and I will start reading some of them. This one is saying, "Great show. I love the analysis by Mr. Anand. Wow, very big and straight to the point." Okay, that's my titles. This one is saying that, "Great, you guys always delight me because you always bring great personalities that are well knowledgeable in boxing and they articulate so well. Thank you, thank you." I'll read this one pretty quick. Well, your show is big. That's why Top Rank is striking you down already. That's on the funny side. That's I'm not even going to read your messages, funny. I mean, there are so many messages. Just yes. Okay, so Dogbe did well. I still think that he has room for improvement, and that's by Prince Doku. Okay, I'll read this one. I think that Isaac Dogbe on the day did well. I still think that he needs to stay with this coach in order to improve his craft. He sometimes flatter to deceive, and that's a problem. He needs to learn how to start and finish well. Charles Brobe sends me that one. I do have other people of other interests. I have messages from people in Mexico that were saying that Joet Gonzalez should have stuck to his game. He played to Dogbe's game. That's how come he lost. Some too are saying that they don't think the bout Dogbe. They don't think Dogbe won the bout, but that's interesting. That's cool. I mean, from the Mexican interest, this show is interactive. You'll be amazed. People from Saudi Arabia and the rest are even watching the show. If the last time we checked with our stats, US our biggest followers. I mean, they watch the show to the mass. Then we won't believe it. South Africa is second. Saudi Arabia is 10. Iran just took over from Ghana, and Ghana is fifth. Can you imagine? That shows you how powerful the show is, and that also calls for questioning how our own people. That is a topic for another day. So many messages. I'll try and read them in a bit. But Mr. Anna, let me come to you. Now we want solutions. Dogbe is going to fight Ray Vargas. We know that for a fact. We also know that a certain Manuel Navarrete will be vacating his post. That is, he will be leaving the WBO, meaning that will become vacant as well. So Dogbe has a possibility of going for either the WBO or the WBC. But the WBC, we know, is constant. He's facing Vargas. Vargas has the same firepower, rich advantage, and perhaps more deadlier. How do you see that fight, and how should Dogbe tackle that fight going forward?
Well, I think that Dogbe should relax in going into that fight. He shouldn't rush into the fight. Well, I don't know the arrangements that are being made for that fight, but I wish that fight comes on probably somewhere later in the year or early next year. I think Dogbe should not rush into that fight. Vargas is deadly. He has power. Um, his corner is good. Um, he will not make the mistakes Gonzalez made. And I think with for Dogbe going into this fight, I think he needs to start training now. He needs to get someone who is heavier and taller than Vegas to spar with. You need a lot of sparring. You need somebody in the gym that would really give him that challenge or more than that to face Vegas. And you should know typical South American boxers when they are coming in, it is they have studied you, they know how you would move, and so the usual movement of Dogbe needs to change. He needs to change, especially when is being attacked and he wants to move back. I think it's a bit sluggish moving back. You don't waste time moving back. You move back, you protect yourself, and you find ways to attack, and that needs to be worked on. He needs to also be swift with his movement. And the movement shouldn't be just moving back, but moving both left and right. And normally, he should be able to move with his jabs. You jab and you move. If he's going to stand with this guy, I mean, we should expect a knockout. We should. I mean, that's the plain truth. We should expect a knockout. Yes, Dogbe has the power. But Vegas have faced similar power before, and therefore he needs to be careful. He can win this fight if he's well composed. He gets a strategy right in the ring, and he keeps his cool. Sometimes I feel Dogbe kind of the fighting spirit in him makes him lose his cool, and he wants to just go for it. And most times that is where he's hit, and he kind of suffer a bit of he kind of suffer a bit when it comes to that. He should be composed. He should have the weight down. I mean, he should have the weight down way before the fight, and he should watch his movement in the ring. The jabs should be his movement. He jabs, he moves. Because yes, the guy is going to come. He's not going to move that much. He's just going to come for it, for the kill. And that is where you need to move. But you move with the punches. You just don't move and stay in there. You move, you break the ribs. And I think that is what will work for him. Because he's disadvantaged in height and also in reach. I think that is what we can.
Okay, so I have few people watching with us. This is what they saying. I'm watching live from Asham and Jericho. This is what they say. I'm watching from Nungua. There is Asante Ajumbone. I think the echo is coming because it says Dogbe did very well. I thought the height and reach of Gonzalez was going to worry him much, but he managed it very well. I guess many people equally also share your sentiments as well. There are so many messages, but anytime I go through my Facebook, I think it's sort of I'll try and put them all together and read them in a bit. But David, you have Isaac Dogbe still in contention for a world title for many, just like Mr. Anand said. They are re-echoing what Mr. Anand said, that Dogbe probably should take like 6 months to prepare for his next bout and probably work with his coach as well. They think that will make a difference. First of all, do you think that Dogbe has improved boxing-wise, from just being what we know, box to box, to actually boxing? And does he need that 6 months in order to fight Vargas?
Oh, let me start from this. Dogbe has improved, though, defensively He's still working on his defense, but he has improved. Looking at his previous fight and even including the two losses he suffered at the hands of Navarrete, he has improved. Now Dogbe is no more the fighter that we used to know. He's now combining the two. He's now moving as a boxer and he's now fighting. He fighting or he coming to fight when the need arise, and sometimes he box when the even after the fight in his post match, he admitted that he got to a point he forgot to box, but he decided he has because he has the fighting spirit. He decided to go into to fight instead of him just boxing and moving around just to kill the time. For me, I think he has a decision to make. Dogbe can decide to fight Navarrete because automatically Dogbe is now the number one WBO number one contender because he has beaten the number one. So automatically he becomes the number one contender. He has a decision to take as to whether he wants to fight Navarrete for the third time or he wants to go after Rey Vargas. But guess what? He shouldn't be going into that fight quickly, whether Rey Vargas or Navarrete. He has to take his time, watch the fight against Joet Gonzalez again, just oppose himself with his performance and things that he did wrong. Go to the gym, train. So if he's going to fight with Vargas, he has to sit down, audit with Vargas fight right from his when he was fighting as small bantamweight, and after he moved to featherweight when he defeated Maxayo. So it's a big decision for Isaac Dogbe to make, and it's not a fight which is going to happen anytime soon because I heard there's a talk of a rematch between Rey Vargas and Mark Masayo. So let's wait and see the outcome of it. He has a big decision to make. He has a solid team, but from the political boxing view, Top Rank want to keep the titles, and Top Rank would prefer Isaac Dogbe to go and fight for the WBC so that they can bring the title, and then there might be a unification between Isaac Dogbe and Emmanuel Navarrete, and who any of the boxer that wins the title remain at Top Rank. So that's the boxing politics that they are now trying to play now. But for now, how the boxing or how Top Rank is shaping Isaac Dogbe, Top Rank now see Isaac Dogbe as one of his darling boxers, and they are shaping him well for the greater height. But for me, I think he shouldn't be forcing, or he shouldn't be rushing into a world title shot against Rey Vargas. He has to take his time, do due diligence of the mistake that he did before taking that action.
Mr. Anan, let me bring you in. What would you say to people that says that perhaps Top Rank are always trying to make sure their boxers win because they are on the A side, and also Isaac Dogbe has a lot of following from the UK perspective right down to Ghana, and even some fans that he's even garnered in America. So that also played a factor in him emerging victorious. What would you say to those conspiracy theories?
Well, I mean,
Because you've been a promoter before, and you are still a promoter, and you know how the game goes.
yeah. I mean, look, let's face it, Dogbe has lost fights. Top Rank couldn't do anything about it. Bottom line, if you want to do something about the scorecard, the first and foremost, it's in the hands of the boxer. It is the performance of the boxer in the ring that will enable you to do anything. So if people are saying, well, Top Rank is allowing him to win fights, then my response to that is, then very well, Dogbe is doing something right in the ring. It is not easy to sit down and watch a boxer you are promoting suffer in the ring, loss in the ring. It's quite difficult if you kind of know the money that are put down for some of these things to happen. So yes, you are investing in a boxer, and what you want is a win. So yes, but to say that Top Rank is probably um, getting him to win. I don't think that is right. I think he earned it. We all saw what happened. He earned the win. I don't know which fight they are referring to, but I think his last fight, whatever happened in there, was clear. He ended it as well. This fight, whatever happened in the, he ended.
And take this
I don't
question
see
from
challenge
from
in this.
from, from a viewer. I have a lot of messages, but I'm just being selective because most of them
Yeah,
are virtually the same. They have been
yeah.
inundated. As a matter of fact, my text console is booming with messages. This one is saying we are always happy to see Isaac Dogbe winning fights, but people who knows boxing refuse to tell us his mistakes. Is that the case?
Oh, I mean, I think we have pointed out a lot of his mistakes here. Sluggish, running away from punches. He runs into punches with his guard out. He kind of throws a lot of hooks when he's not protected at the jaws and all that. His defense system has improved a lot. And I realized that he protected his stomach. From the round four, he was protecting more of his stomach, which was right because he was hurting Gonzalez with the body. So you should expect that Gonzalez would also retaliate. And few occasions, Gonzalez had gone in that direction, but he had it covered. So yes, every boxer, depending on who is fighting, will make certain mistakes. It is the trainers or the corner that has to tell them their mistakes and how to improve on their mistake. We can only give advices, bit of advices here and there, but we cannot we don't usurp the powers of the corner. I mean, the corner knows best. I mean, they are trained to do this job, and I think his corner did well. I don't think anybody is trying to. When Dogbe lost his first fight, I was one of the few people who said it is time for the father to step away.
Yeah, I recall
At the
that.
same time,
Yeah.
I had a lot of
People
people backing
bashed
me to
you.
say that.
Yeah, people bashed you then. I recall that comment.
Yes,
I think I did that story. Yeah, I
yeah.
do.
So, so yes, we will always try to tell the boxers where their weaknesses are for them to improve it. But at the end of the day, what we see probably the corner sees differently. I mean, at the end of the day, the back stops with the corner. When there is a win, we will praise the corner. When there is a loss, we will hit at the corner, and it is just normal. And I think it is only fair. We all have to be fair to each other and to be fair to him. He has improved. He did so well in this fight, and I think that he can go the extra mile. He should go for it. I mean, he can do it. I mean, yes, he's challenged with height and all that, but I think he has what it takes to do it.
Okay, so we got like 8 minutes to wrap up. But like I said, there are so many messages. This one is I'm a former boxer. I would like to contribute. You can only contribute by sending us text. Like once I will announce my line, it's +1 815 302 5489. I admire the fact that you're calling me with a UK number. Kindly don't call me. It's for contribution. So if you're a former boxer, you want to contribute with your vast experience, that's cool. But send me a text, please. Kindly be noted. This one is saying, Dogbe did very well. In fact, in my estimation, he fought very well, more than I expected, and that's by our Asari. I think that Isaac Dogbe, just like your panelists are saying, should take a break for a while, learn the ropes, start to box more, and listen to his coach. He should be fine when he faces Ray Vargas. Kudos, Dogbe. This one I say congratulations to Isaac Dogbe. I think he did very well in the ring, but he should watch it because normally he he gets caught up in the middle rounds, and that is not good. Okay, that's by Eno Kofi. So there are so many of your messages. I'll try and do justice to them, but like I said, time becomes our biggest enemy when we actually meet in occasions like this when we are having fun. I'm gonna go to David. David, so going forward for you, what should be the agenda for Isaac Dogbe going forward for you? What would you advise him to do?
To work on his defense, to work on his defense in terms of his physique, his body structure. There's nothing you can do about it. That's how it is. He hit it. So the best thing for him to do is to work on his defense. He has got a good corner. Like I said, Barry Hunter has been one of the best trainers in the world of boxing. He's the most astute boxing trainer in the DMV between DC, Virginia, and Maryland. So he
Yes.
has got great corner.
Youngest, we
Dogbe,
see being in the fray.
yeah, Dogbe has been at the top level before, and he know how to box himself to the top level. And for him getting this opportunity to fight for another world title, the first time he had opportunity, he won it, and he has gotten another opportunity again. Now, Revaga is the WBC featherweight champion, and he's one of the best punchers in the featherweight division. And per what I have seen, W2 is regarded as one of the best body smashers when it comes to the featherweight division. So it's going to be a very cagey fight, but it's going to take time for this fight to happen because Rebagas is from PBC, Dogbe is from top round. But the fight has already been ordered. It's the final eliminator. Dogbe should just cool his head, take a sober reflection of his last fight, the mistake that he did, he should correct the mistakes, work on his stamina because it feels like he throws a lot of punches. So in the middle of the rounds, you will see the fatigue on his part. He should start learning on how to fight back foot. Sometimes you are fighting back foot, his defense is very poor, and anytime his opponent normally try to pounce on him to get that shot. And that is the only thing for me. I think Dogbe and his trainers should be working on. Other than that, for me, he's in great shape and is in line in becoming two-way division. He's in line becoming two-time world champion. But one thing, Sammy, we shouldn't forget is yesterday, per what I saw, and I've watched other previous fights. I think our coaches in Ghana should up their game.
This is exactly my next question to you.
Yeah, our coaches
What can the
in Ghana
Ghanaian, our coaches, what can they
should
learn
up their game.
it happened yesterday? What can they learn from it? That was my question.
Because
My question to you. Yeah.
you might prepare a fighter in for a fight. Certain tactics from your opponent might change the dynamics of the fight. So it depends on the trainer to speak tough to the boxer, and that is what Gary Varianta did to Isaac Dogbe, and that won the fight for Isaac Dogbe. It's not always about okay, jab, move, move. If the going is getting tough, as the trainer, you see what the boxer don't see. You have to step up the plate and tell the boxer in his face that no, you have to step up the plate to win that rounds. If you could remember when um, um, uh, um, um, Tank Davis fought against Barrios, Mayweather was boldly and was front to Tank Davis, told Davis that, man, you are losing the fight. On the scorecard, unofficial scorecard, you are losing the fight. You have to go there for the kill. And he did exactly what Mayweather told him. And he won the fight. So our boxers or our training is not only about tactics, running. When the going is getting tough, you have to be bold enough and tell the boxer, you have to go in there, step up the plate, and win the rounds.
Well, indeed, according to Daniel Devicote, nicely articulated there. I'm gonna come to Mr. Annan. Mr. Annan, if you, from everything that you watched yesterday, what can the not just the Ghanaian coach, but what can the Ghanaian boxer learn from this? A typical boxer aspiring to get to that height, what can they learn from? What can they emulate from this?
Well. I think that first of all, it starts with the relationship between a boxer and his trainer. You know, down here, the relationship of a boxer and a trainer is not what we saw between um, Dogbe yesterday and his trainer. No. Our trainers, yes, over the years, I would not say that they have not gotten themselves abreast with modern techniques, but also their relationship with the boxers psychologically and all that has been poor. Um, I have stayed by ringside, and I have heard instructions being sent into the ring by trainers. And I kind of ask myself, is the trainer watching the same fight? It's sometimes, and you want to stay as a promoter. I have promoter stay as a promoter, but sometimes you can't help it. You
I
hear
guess.
being sent out and all that. It's a bit of. I think reading the game is another thing,
Mm,
and training boxers is another thing. Um, there are people who sit behind and they can tell even the trainer at the corner that, hey, this is what we are seeing. And then he would pick on that. So it is not for every trainer to be all round.
mm,
That is what we should understand.
okay.
It is not for every trainer to be all round. There are trainers who are very good in, like, example, locally. Oko
Mm,
Damte was so good. I mean, detecting the weaknesses of Ike's opponents.
yeah, that's true.
He was so good, perfect. I mean, within 1, 2, 3 rounds, Oko Damte have started instructing his boxer. And our boxers have to be trained to have good ears for their trainers.
Mm.
You know, if you have been in a ring before, when you are punched, sometimes you don't hear anything, you know.
Processes.
So,
Okay.
so
So
I think
I'm gonna have your final words very soon, but I would like to put in through a man who's also been following boxing a lot. He's a YouTuber. He's with Ace Television. Of course, I'm sure you know him. And I'm gonna quickly have a submission real quick because I feel that there are some few things he watched as well from the bout that he would like to quickly just share with us. Do we have him? Do we have Doc right now on our platform? Uh, just like David Cote, he always likes his name to be coded. So, uh, do we have him? Uh, do we have him? Yes, 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 yes. I don't know if you want me to mention your name or you still want it to be coded. Your mic is actually off. If you can turn your mic on, I'll be so pleased. Um, okay, okay, okay. So you can hear me now. Yeah, I can actually see you. I hope you can hear me, and I'm also hoping that our viewers will are able to hear you. I can't really hear your sound, but I'm gonna try and come back again and put you through the stream very soon. Let's see. This time around, yes. Doc, are you able to hear me? Mr. Anna, are you able to hear him? Because I'm not able to hear him.
no, I'm not able to hear him.
I'm not able to hear you, Doc. Okay. Okay, Doc. Okay, so we are going to reconnect, Doc, pretty very soon on that. But before that, Mr. Anand, let me have your final comments.
Well, my final comment will be one to Dogbe and two to the rest of our boxers here in Ghana. This is a tough game. It's for tough people.
Mm.
And when you get out there, it's either you are beaten or you beat others. There is no other way apart from this. And look, the champions that we have had faced similar challenges or tougher challenges, and they were able to surmount it.
Mm.
I am sure that our boxers can pick the pieces. We can put ourselves together well, and I'm
Do we still have Mr. Anand? Yes, do we still have Mr. Anand? So I'm getting tons of messages here, but I'll try and reconnect Mr. Anand. I don't know what happened with the stream. I'm trying to get Doc back on the platform. before we wrap up, because my producer just gave me 4 minutes. I hope that we can do justice to that and wrap up within that 4 minutes. So if Doc is ready, I'm going to put Doc through for his. Let's have his bit. Then we will definitely wrap up with Stan and Doc. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you live. Call it.
All right. So thanks for this surprise invitation. But
yes.
as you said, I've been following boxing for a while now. I watched the whole fight of Dogbe and Gonzalez. And I would say that as I did in my pre-fight analysis, going into the fight, I knew it was going to be tough. I knew, for a boxing fan, I knew that it was going to be fun watching because they had equal abilities. So I wasn't surprised when they all went the rounds. And then as I had said in my post-fight, till the bell rang, I still was tossed into who was winning. And I think many people were there. I was, if it wasn't an eliminator, if there was no title on, I felt like they would have probably called it a draw.
Okay.
Yeah, but Dogbe had a slight edge on him, and then they gave it to him. But hey, I congratulate him. He still has a few things that he needs to work on. Personally, I like the way that he went into this fight because Dogbe is an explosive, aggressive fighter. If you compare to before he came into his new training camp, he's always going hard, aggressive punches. But then what happens is that he gets very tired towards the end of the fights. So it seems like somehow they have figured this out, that he needs to pace himself. And that's exactly what he did for this one. That's how he easily won the first 3 rounds. And I think it was good. Even though from round 6 going, he was tired, but at least he could hold up till the end of the round. Now, if he does fight Vargas, which you guys have spoke a lot about, he's going to have to use a little bit of a different strategy. Because Vargas is a big dude, he has a longer reach, and I mean, looking at his record, he beat Maxayo. Maxayo is one of the most explosive, aggressive fighters out there. So Dogbe has to be extraordinary in order to beat Vargas. And I think I don't know if you may want to go the round with Vargas, but I'll leave that to our technical team. But I'm happy as a Ghanaian that we are finally out there in contention again for a world title, and I hope that he does fix all the few things that he needs to fix and bring the title home to Ghana, and now his other new home, the UK.
Indeed, his other new home in the UK. We should have brought you early because I would have loved to go round by round with you, but like they always say, when we meet in occasions like this, time indeed becomes our biggest enemy. Once again, my name has been Samuel Fosini. Doc is the one on your shot. He doesn't want to be revealed, but he's a very important man. He's a YouTuber, big time YouTuber, no two ways about it. This is where I have to wrap up. Like I always tell you, a positive anything is better than a negative something. So till I come your way same time next week, many thanks to Mr. Nia Boy and a politician, CEO of Don's Promotions. And of course, he did justice to the topic. I'm sure you loved it. Pay your messages. I'm convinced that you loved his submission. And of course, my co-host Daniel David Cote, who had to take an early shower because he had something to take care of. And of course, Doc, who held us down tonight with a nice wrap-up of Isaac Royal versus Joet Gonzalez. My name has been Samuel Fusini. Do join me same time next week. Bye for now and have a great, great, great week.